Hi, I'm Carlos Guerrero, and I'm making this video. I don't know why. I'm crazy, wasting my time maybe. I don't know. But it's a message that I want to give out to all my brothers and sisters at Sag-Aftra. If you are a Sag-Aftra member, and no matter what field you work in, stunts, acting, puppeteer, voiceover, whatever you work in, this pertains to you. And it doesn't matter what local you're in. I particularly am from the Miami local. But this pertains to anyone in our industry, even other entertainment unions. So if you're part of the entertainment unions, you might want to listen to this. And if you're considering becoming a member, you might want to listen to this too and watch this video, because um, I want to explain to you how our current leadership is working. Just last week, uh, our NED, National Executive Director, and our president put out a message to all of the members saying that they should be celebrating the Telemundo renegotiation after they came to an agreement. Now, the original contract, I will tell you, was made in 2018. In 2018, there was a big celebration. They were saying it was a historic thing because they've been trying to get Telemundo to sign for years and years and years. And this is true. They had been. A problem with that contract, in my opinion, was that they put a scale for the day players at under $200. And the scale for guest starring roles was under $300. Now, some people say, well, that may be the scale, but Telemundo pays more to the other actors and whatnot. And you might want to watch this till the end, because I discovered something that I didn't really put together back then. I knew, in my opinion, that the contract wasn't a very well negotiated contract on our behalf. I believe that Telemundo negotiators they're pretty good. They're pretty hard to deal with. But SAG-AFTRA has a chief negotiator that makes $1.2 million a year, and he should be a little harder on Telemundo and try to find a way of creating a contract that is more equal, something that is more fair to the members at Telemundo. He created this contract, or wrote this, or signed this contract back in 2018. And what bugs me is that our chief negotiator is always saying that he fights for equity, equality, inclusion. Yet, what's happening here is that the contract for Telemundo is called the Spanish Language Agreement with Sag-Aftra and Telemundo. And just the only difference between that and us working at NBC, ABC, or Tyler Perry, or any of the other networks, is that it's in Spanish. So they named it the Spanish Language Agreement and put a scale of $200 and $300, under $300. The renegotiation, which everyone is celebrating, does have some increases. It has some gains, and the gains, I from what I understand, the most is it jumped from the 300. Let's round it off to $300 for guest starring roles. From $300, by the year 2027, you'll be able to make $340, no more than $350 a day as a guest star, and no more than $250 a day as a day player. So I don't think that's a good contract, and I don't think that's anything to celebrate. But There are people who are out there celebrating. I wanna make something clear, and I want to send out a message to the entire committee, because I know how hard it is to work for these things, especially when you're working as a volunteer for other members. And I would love to tip my hat to all of you. The chair, who has worked tirelessly. She's a wonderful member and a wonderful human being. I love her, but um, I don't really blame them for the outcome. I blame our negotiators, whoever that may be. The, I can tell you that the one who's celebrating this agreement are the negotiating staff over at Telemundo. And it's sad because we do have a union. Um, that contract with Telemundo costed our union over $1 million back in 2018 to bring to fruition. And once it was done, because I questioned the contract. I said, this is, how could you have peanuts? We're making almost back then it was $1,100 on the scale for the English language contracts. Why are we Spanish language? Just because it's Spanish language, why are we putting the scale at $200 and $300? That's ridiculous. It's like a third or a fourth of what we make in the English market. Why? Telemundo makes just as much money, if not more, on certain of their programming than the English market does. And it's sold worldwide over and over and over again, the product. Yet, very few, if any, of my brothers and sisters at Telemundo have yet to see a penny in residuals since 2018. And I think I figured out why. And here's the thing. Aside from the negotiating skill tactics, or whatever you want to call it, from Telemundo, that I applaud. They're awesome. I wish we had negotiators like that at Sag-Aftra. And I love my union. I want to clear that up. I love my union. I sit on the Miami board now. I tried getting on the national board, but there were 200, roughly about 200 ballots that were left in the post office, and it's in the past. Anyway, so we get to this contract where there's such a difference between $1,100 and $300 only for a language barrier, which I think it's discriminative. I've mentioned it many times, but some of the leadership says that it's not discrimination. If it's not discrimination, I don't know what it is, and I would love for them to explain what it is, why there's such a difference. Because somebody once tried to tell me from the Spanish market, people who do work at Telemundo quite a bit, and they told me that they're happy to have this because they have insurance, which is true. They have the option for insurance. They have the option for their pension and things that they didn't have before. So then, here's the kicker. Now follow me here, okay? Because it's a little confusing, maybe. I'll try to be as layman as I can. The contract states that they can make, like I said, 200, and I'm rounding it off, 200 for day player, 300 for guest starring role. Now, most of the actors that work there will tell you, oh, that's okay. It doesn't bother me because I make more than that anyway. And most of them do. I remember back when I worked at Telemundo, the last time I was booked on a job there, I was making 4 times what their scale is now, right? And I think this could be part of the negotiating skills of the Telemundo people. And I'll explain. You got $200 and $300. Now they pay more to some people. Why would they want that on paper or on the agreement as 200 or 300. So let's say that they pay you, uh, let's say that they pay you, I don't know, $800 a day, right? So the contract, the scale is 300 for guest star. You made $800, right? Wonderful. You're still under the 1,100 that they pay in the American market, but it's $800. So you took the job, and 5 years go by, and you ask yourself, why haven't I received any residuals? Well, those $500 above scale that they paid you go against any residuals owed to you in the future. And perhaps this is why the actors who have been working there since 2018 on contracts have yet to see any residuals. I think this is wrong. I think this is a poor negotiating skills from the negotiators that we have, especially from a chief negotiator, who takes all the credit for this and makes $1.2 million a year, coming from a salary of $360,000. This chief negotiator was making $360,000 a year before the pandemic. The pandemic came around. Our national executive director at the time, David White, was retiring, or they replaced him with this new national executive director, Duncan Crabtree Ireland. He was approved by the national board to start off making $770,000 a year, a jump from $360,000 to $770,000. Removing David White, and then a few days later, bringing back David White as a consultant for the same $600 and some odd dollars, $600 and some odd $1,000 that he was making. Strange, yeah, I think so. It merits questioning, and but the big thing here is we have a negotiating team led by a negotiator making $1.2 million because he never made the 770 that he was approved to make on that first year, which was during the pandemic. And while all the members were suffering and hardly anyone was working, if any at all, hardly any of the members were working, his salary jumped to a whopping $1 million for that year, and is currently at $1.2 million. He also has benefits that none of us have, like, for instance, he has assured himself by way of national board votes, who overwhelmingly 85% of the national board voted to increase to allow this increase in salary, and not only that, but to extend his contract for another 4 years, guaranteeing him that he will have a lifetime pension of $260,000 a year for the rest of his life. Anyhow, I wanted you guys to know this. These are facts. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I love the union. I love to be a part of the union. I have been so blessed to be a member of this union. My father was a member of this union. My father, Jorge Raul Guerrero, he was the one who taught me my values and told me there's a difference between an actor who's a union member, an actor who's not. He loved the union. I loved the union. One of the best days of my life was the day that I became a union member. But what has happened in the union over the last 10 years or so, or I would say probably after the merger with AFTRA, it's really sad. I find that the union is there for pushing purposes that do not really uh, belong in our union. We should be fighting for the members, especially our national executive director and our leadership, our president and everyone else. They should be fighting for the rights of the members, fighting for us to work and to have fairness and equality. When they tell you that they fight for equality, I beg to differ when they allow contracts just for a Spanish language, because they're Spanish speakers, they're going to make less money. And when they're working in for a corporation that makes far more than a lot of the ones who are complying, a lot of the smaller studios, or would you say the smaller networks like BET, and Tyler Perry Studios. They pay their actors scale at minimum. At minimum, they pay their actors scale. They treat us with and I say us because I work I've worked for Tyler Perry. I have a recurring on one of his shows, and I love the treatment that they give us. They treat us like real human beings, and they put us up in nice hotels and the whole 9 yards. And they pay us at least the scale. Whereas this other Telemundo, and nothing against Telemundo, I love Telemundo, but and I applaud them for fighting for their corporation. But I think that we need negotiators like them to come on board with us, so that we could have people fighting for us, and not negotiators or national executive directors that call themselves chief negotiators and celebrate a $300 a day contract. I don't think it's right for all the members. We as union members, we have to make sacrifices to be union members. We have to make big sacrifices, and we do it because we want to make a living in this business. We love what we do, and I hope that I have informed you. Everything I've said has been factual. If you have any other details that you wanna me to go over with you, you can reach out to me. You can find me at carlosguerreroactor.com, and you can message me through there, and I will be glad to help you out. If I don't know the answer to your question, I won't answer you with a lie. I will direct you to the right person, or I will find out for you. The bottom line is that we're all in this, and we should be fighting as SAG members, and especially people who are working in the board or giving up their time for the other members, and to try to improve our union. We should be fighting for our fellow members, and I believe that we should all be worried about this Telemundo agreement. Let the leaders know. Let them know that you're not okay with that you're not okay with the discrimination that is going on within our own union. God bless you, and thank you for listening. Carlos Guerrero here, signing off from Miami, Florida.